Episode 7. It's Halloween.
Oh, we're starting already.
We're going. It's Halloween.
Oh, no. There goes our intro. Wow, everyone. This is Sherman here. Welcome to Into the 99, where we have 99 cards because Commander's number 1. And you can totally tell that we're so prepared for this.
All of us are 100% ready for episode 7.
It's Halloween. We're spooked.
It's Halloween. We are spooked. Spooky.
Ghost recordings.
Oh boy. So today we are going to talk about our top 3 scariest commanders that we don't like to see on the board.
And by top 3, I mean the ones that we were thinking about. I don't know if Daniel and I each have 3.
Yeah, we have maybe more than 3.
We've got a list.
You guys got a list. I narrowed it down to 3 that I see and I do not like to see.
Every time someone pulls them out onto the table, you know that it's going to be a bad time.
Yeah, well, it'll be a good time for them. I don't know about me though, but yeah, it's definitely some weird times. But
on the theme of the Halloween season, let's get into it. Some scary
Halloween.
boys.
What's spooky?
Yeah, what's spooky and MTG?
Candy. Giving candy to little kids and watching them freak out. That's what's scary.
So I think we'll go one at a time for each of ours. So Sherman, if you want to give the first one on your list.
Okay, my very first one is Selvala, Heart of the Wilds.
What's spooky about that?
Well, let's look at it, okay? It's 1 green for an elf scout. And its abilities are, whenever another creature enters the battlefield, its controller may draw a card if its power is greater than each other creature's power. And for a green and tapping it, you can add X mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. And Selvala is a 2/3. I find that scary because when I see this, I'm like, okay, the person's going to play big creatures.
X-cost creatures.
Hydras.
Hydras.
Yeah. You name it, it's big, it's beefy, and I tend to play a lot of tiny guys. So, it's like, how many board wipes do I have in my deck? How much removal? How much does everyone else have for removal? Because when I see things that are big and dropping down, I'm just like, oh boy, here we go. Please don't attack me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things. Then you're at the beginning, like if they don't have big things, not a big deal. You can drop something that's like a 4/4 and you can draw a card, hopefully. Mm-hmm. But let's face it, that's not the case.
Yeah, once you get past a couple turns into that game, you're never going to have the biggest, unless you happen to be playing dinosaurs or something.
Well, if you think about it, dropping even a 6/6 for 6 still allows you to tap her for 6.
Mm-hmm.
She's 1 green to activate, right?
Yeah.
But you're going to get 6 mana from it and a draw because it'll be the biggest thing on the board.
Exactly.
You had 6 mana for it, so the next turn you have 12 mana. So you're rolling into turn 4 and dropping Ulamog.
Boo! Boo!
Seems fun.
Yeah, not when the opponent had it. If I had that, okay, I'm cool with that. But the opponent's dropping that? No.
It's scary boys.
It's pretty easy to abuse as well with Umbral Mantle.
Yeah.
The ability to untap Selvala and tap her for mana. Umbral Mantle does just break the card and make it a very easy to generate infinite mana deck to just do degenerate things.
Yeah, so you can do infinite mana. You know big creatures dropping down. The worst part is that you know that big creatures are dropping down faster.
Yeah.
Okay, so and like all the big creatures that we know of, all right, have crazy abilities. We're not going back in the day when it's like, hey, look, there's a crow worm. It's a 6/4. Woo! Don't care, right? Like it's gonna be like a 7/6, an 8/8, 10/10. Who knows? Either way, they're coming down fast because Selvala adds mana, so it's a mana ramp card already. Mm-hmm. And like even if you drop like a 4-drop or a 4-power card, that's still an extra 4 mana. 3 mana, I guess you'd say technically speaking. Mm-hmm. But you're still ramping up pretty hard here.
And you're not running into a lot of the same problems that you might normally when you're playing large creatures in a color like green, because you have the built-in draw to use the mana.
Well, yeah,
for.
and we've talked about how big of an advantage draw is. Draw and discard alone is a good advantage.
Yeah.
But just draw with no drawback other than
And
you've got a beefy boy on board.
You have all the mana in the world to actually use the cards that you're drawing.
Yeah, you're incentivized to run huge banging creatures because you're going to get more mana out of it.
And you don't get the same sort of another disadvantage, which is when you're running a large creatures that your opponents see that that's kind of the theme of your deck. If you're playing Boros Angels, or you're playing Dragons, or you're playing it's something you're playing the Animar, people are expecting Eldrazi, where there is still going to be a lot of build up. You don't have that same wait time that you would normally have, so that your opponents can sort of prepare for the aggro board state that you're bound to build.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Selvala. Like, if the person's really mean, they're gonna put down the Eldrazi's into there with Annihilate.
Exactly.
It's like, no one likes playing against someone that has Annihilator.
Annihilator, #1 most fun mechanic.
Yeah. Not on anybody's top 10 list.
I swing, you sacrifice 10 permanents. It hits for 40.
And you mill half your deck, and I'll take over your turn at the same time. Yeah! Like, seriously. Like,
yeah, who plays Eldrazi?
But that's the thing. Like, with Selvala, when I see that, if I don't know the person, I expect Eldrazi's, I expect Annihilators. Hell, even the lore for the Eldrazi's is scary. Let alone just the card.
You don't gotta tell me twice.
Yeah. So it's like, that's why I think, that's my number 3 pick for scariest.
Yeah,
is
Selvala, because Selvala not only by herself is quite intense and aggressive, but yeah, when you combine her with those super scary cards, like you said, lore-wise even, Ulamog, Kozilek, it's just disgusting.
Yeah. Like, and that's the thing. You're not going to expect someone that's playing Selvala to have, like, like
Elves.
a 3/3 or something like that. Yeah, like,
If you're playing Elf Tribal, though, you're doing it wrong.
I don't know, because sometimes elves can get really strong, right? Cause
They can, but I mean, I feel like you're almost missing a grand opportunity with Selvala.
Yeah. But that's my number 3 pick, because, oh boy.
That's the number 3, y'all.
That's my number 3. What's your number 3?
What's your worst? I would say slivers, man. All the big slivers, but specifically the Overlord. So 5 cost, which is easy. It's got the built-in fetch, so you can grab any sliver in your deck, shuffle, and you can gain control of target slivers. So
everyone runs a Meeboy Changeling in it.
Exactly. So you can grab everybody's other creatures.
Fetch it for 3, turn their Selvala into a sliver.
And then it's, again, another mana source for yourself. It's just very aggressive. And as everybody knows, all of the slivers end up having every single ability.
Yeah, I have to agree. Slivers are crazy.
They can be very, very aggressive. And they go off so fast.
Slivers have haste. Slivers have counter. Slivers have death touch. Slivers
Flying
have a college-level reading thesis on the table to know what they're doing.
It's like an internal group hug, if you think of it.
For yourself. And you
for
don't
yourself.
hug anyone else.
You're like being homeschooled, and you've never actually played with any other friends. You're just not ready for this yet. Well,
Slivers were always a powerful card, but then they printed 2 of the new big ones, Morophon, which is for some reason the auto-include in Slivers.
Yeah.
And then the first Sliver. So the ability with 6 mana to fetch it, as soon as you can get out Morophon, you can play all of your big slivers and fetch them.
Oh, and if anybody's unfamiliar with what Morophon does, it allows you to reduce casting costs by 1 of each of the 5 colors.
Wooburg less.
When you name a specific sub-creature type.
And it's every creature type in all places, so you can go fetch it with the Overlord.
Exactly.
And then you play the first sliver for free.
And
then you play all your slivers
and
for free. And cascade into your slivers.
I want to think, why... the concept of slivers originally, when it first came out, okay, it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then they continued it on and on and on, and it's getting worse and worse and worse, and it's just technically better if you want to think of it that way.
Better if you're a sliver player.
It is neat how the abilities evolve from all slivers have it to slivers you control have it. So it was neat in that regard of the evolution of it.
Yeah.
But then again, that being said, why did they print these cards?
Yeah. Well, one thing that we were talking about was one of the only good things about slivers is that, well, good or bad, depending on whether or not you want to play them, but is that it's a hefty price tag to get into playing slivers. So it kind of, that's why it's lower on our list than it
The number one thing that keeps the slivers in check is their price tag
Yeah, I can totally see that. Like,
and humility.
oh yeah.
Humility will wreck that deck fast.
Yep.
But that's the thing. Like, how many people play humidity? Or, you know, like
Brian played humility.
yeah, Brian. Or
That's how I know humility wrecks a sliver deck.
but that's the thing, though. Like overall, like slivers are just crazy because just you can go so nuts so quickly. It gets out of control. You wipe it, no problem. You rebuild quickly.
Yeah.
Like because they can tap for mana. They can do all sorts of things. They can like counter spells for some of them, probably. I don't know. Like what can let's go
What
with the
can't
opposite.
slivers do?
Yeah, what can they not do?
Oh, they can do a lot. They can mill you.
Yeah.
They can do damage to attacking creatures. The new Lava Belly Sliver deals damage to people whenever they're dealt damage, which is just an
That's
absurd
nasty.
card.
Okay,
That's really nasty.
yeah, like why?
It's either Hive Lord or Legion. Legion, I believe, is
The
a
coat of
built-in
arms.
coat of arms.
Yeah,
Hive Lord's indestructible.
Yeah.
I know one thing slivers can't do: make you breakfast,
Make you friends.
make you friends. Oh yeah, that's a bigger one. I don't need friends.
I
don't
don't
need
know, the Overlord kind of looks like it's wearing an apron in its picture. Maybe it could make
Looks like
breakfast.
maybe she could be a friend.
But like sliver, like that is a good point though. Slivers tend to be very expensive. Well, the sliver creatures themselves aren't really too bad, but the commanders that you can get, like the
The
Sliver
Hive Lord,
Queen.
the Queen,
yeah.
the
Oh,
Overlord.
The Queen on the reserve list, never printed again. Brutal.
Did you get that? Well, like was your friend able to get that foil Sliver Queen?
I don't think there is a foil Sliver Queen
I
unless
thought
you
you
got
s-
an altar.
Oh, that's what.
Yeah,
She
you
was
got like
never
an
foiled.
altar or someone foil peeled one, but yeah, for actual ones, it was never printed in a foil. You're just stuck with that base Sliver
If
Queen
they
and a
released-
$200 price
Yeah.
tag.
If Wizards came out and released a foil Sliver Queen, I would lose my mind.
I think everybody would.
That'd be
So
incredible.
like anytime someone like they bring out something that's foil, it's just like ooh, like even with like the new set Throne of Eldraine, like the full art foils for that stuff. Oh, it's so
Gorgeous.
beautiful.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and I know Daniel and I, from the sounds of it, you also are very much into the cool artwork,
oh yeah,
the kind of little rare cards. Yeah.
You throw a shiny in front of me, that's...
It's like a
I'm
dog.
distracted easily. Take my money and let's get this.
Squirrel.
Ooh, it
squirrel.
sparkles.
It
Yeah.
sparkles.
So hope that's your Daniel.
Mhm.
Where
What
did
are
I
you
put
afraid
mine?
of?
Oh, Edgar Markov. Edgar Markov's just terrible. He's just terrible.
Wow,
all,
Bean.
all of the Eminence commanders were very, very strong, but Edgar Markov sits at the top of that
Well,
on the
scary.
throne of the strongest.
It was banned for 1v1. So
1v1's not real.
Be.
yeah, but that's the thing. Like that's how strong Edgar is. It's just the fact that like, hey, if you're playing 1-on-1, I am bad. Too bad. Don't make me unless you want to play with other people.
Well, vampires in general are so strong because of how synergistic they are. So having a commander
Well, and how much
that-
they've showed up in so many sets. There's
Yeah.
so much tribal support for them.
Yeah.
and variety. So
Yeah.
there are vampiric staples. However, you could play against 4 different vampire decks and see completely different creatures, completely different combos.
But
Well, that-
still a ton of vampire tokens.
Yeah.
exactly.
And the thing is, I think what makes Edgar and the Slivers so powerful is just the fact that you see them in so many different colors. Like Sliver, you literally see in every single color. Vampires, like they have it in Mardu, and you see them in each color, right? So, because like you have like black traditionally when it first came out,
Of course.
it's just vampires in only black, and then it came out in red,
Mhm.
and then finally with like
Ixalan
Ixalan
and all that, yeah.
yeah, they came in white. So now you have vampires in all 3 colors.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it scary. Because it was just in black only.
That gives you kind of a disadvantage because black is certainly there are a lot of strong black cards. I play a lot of black in my decks,
Yeah.
but it limits you to what you're able to do. But having the ability to pull from all of the red cards and all the white cards at your disposal, in conjunction with lifelink and all those sorts of like very white mechanics, in conjunction with like causing damage to your opponents with traditional black mechanics, it's very scary. Very fast.
Ixalan's church-based vampires was a pretty neat.
Very cool.
Lots of the cleric-y kind of vampires.
Yeah.
So traditional effects that you would get on a white cleric, some return to the battlefield effects, a ton of lifelink built in, was a really, really good support, especially with a 3-color vampire commander available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like vampires already, like most of them, as we go up the years, they have more abilities and they cost a lot less. So like it's like back in the day, you know, like we had all these creatures that are really, really big, but they're high casting costs. They're normally vanilla.
Yeah,
But
no
they're-
effect on them.
No effect.
Something
yeah.
like a 7/6 was just a crazy card, and that was what you got. You got a 7/6 for 8 or 9 mana, and it was a big creature.
Yeah,
It's a
but
big
now, you know, you have the opposite where it's like a 3/2, but it has crazy abilities and it costs like 4 mana or 3 mana because it's a rare, you know, or a mythic. It doesn't matter. Yeah, either way, it's like they're like the vampires alone. Like you can curve so well with it. That's what makes it scary, you know.
Well, and a pretty surprising amount of token support exists as well for those vampires. And any tribal deck, everyone who plays Commander at some point finds a tribe they love, they play a deck of it. And if you got an extra token of your tribe every time you cast something of your tribe, it would be an insane thing. That's why Eminence is such a strong card.
Yeah.
You don't even need to have played Edgar to benefit from him, and that's what makes him so intense.
If his ability was on an enchantment, you would run it in every deck and it would be worth casting.
Yeah.
The fact that it just comes into play for free is unremovable Leyline-esque.
Yeah, because like it's in your command zone, it still affects the board.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, well, I would like to get rid of it somehow, but I cannot do
There's
that.
nothing you can do.
Well,
You
and if
hope
you-
that they play it and you can take control of that.
Yeah,
and
If
that's
you
the
curve
only
well
thing.
in that deck, you drop a turn 1 vampire, you have 2 vampires. Turn 2, a 2-drop gives you 4. And turn 3, if you have your mana, that's a captivating vampire with 6 vampires on deck. That's the ability to take anyone's early commander, that's taking anyone's big creatures, and even if someone is blowing some removal on it, it still leaves you with 5 minimum 1/1 vampires to attack with.
Mhm.
That's just so stupid.
And that's
but
on turn
it-
3.
Yeah. Turns. Oh man, that's crazy. But like, I agree with you. Edgar is really, really scary for that. You know, and let's face it. When the Commander deck first came out, one of the best cards for white came out in that one set. Teferi's Protection.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah.
And that's also scary. So, like, just Edgar alone is scary. But if you look at the deck, like, Teferi's Protection is bloody insane.
I think it's like $50 right now or something.
55, because I
Yeah.
bought one, like, 2 days ago.
It's a good, it's a good one with a very, very unique ability and phasing that doesn't blink your tokens out of existence. It just makes you unable to die for a turn, essentially, is when people use it.
Mhm.
Someone tries to wipe your 860 vampire tokens. Not today.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, like, that's so crazy. Like, yeah, sure, like, you know, Edgar's strong, and, like, if they bring it out, you know, then you can do something. But you have to wait. Like you said, Hope, they have to bring it out first. And, yeah.
Well,
No.
the other thing, too, is Edgar, when you finally do cast him, he's buffing all your creatures on attack as well.
Oh,
He's got
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's putting 1/1 counters on things. You put Drana in there with her first strike to give all your things 1/1 counters, and you suddenly really, really quickly have a board of 10/10 vampires where there's 20 of them for some reason. You're wondering how you got here and where the silver bullets are.
Yeah. And it's like if you have a lot of mana and they have someone like Olivia, where
Yeah.
you can deal damage and making them vampire,
Yeah,
steal
ping
the
them and
vampire.
take the vampires, yep.
Yeah, it's Edgar. And it's on theme because vampires, Halloween.
He's literally scary, and he's the literal granddaddy of all vampires.
He's
Love
the
that.
first one. He's
And, And Soren's grandpa, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we didn't even touch on how you can run the Sorens in the attack,
Yeah.
and that makes it even more gross.
Yeah, well, and all of Soren's things you can run in the Anguish Unmaking. You can really, really go down the vampire loophole if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Man, like, Edgar, why?
Who's your number 2, Sherman?
My number 2 is...
One of my favorite commanders.
Boo. Atraxa, Praetor's voice.
I had actually originally put Atraxa on my list too.
Love Atraxa.
Yeah.
I am the minority here. Love her.
Yeah, 2 against 1. Sorry, we're banning this card now. So, but yeah, Atraxa, for those that don't know, is a green, white, blue, black for an angel horror that has, oh boy, flying, vigilance, death touch, lifelink.
And she's a 4/4. And at the beginning of your end step, you just get to proliferate.
Yeah.
You just get to. You don't have to do anything.
Before we go on with her, interesting lore fact. The reason she doesn't include red is because in the story, the Red Praetor didn't want to be a part of putting it together.
Because he has compassion.
He's the only
Hang on,
not
time out.
crazy
Red
one.
has compassion?
Yes.
In the Praetor, yeah.
100%. That is a feature of what's the red Praetor's name?
Urabresk.
Urabresk. Yes, he has compassion because that's one of the features of Red Mana was a little bit.
He is also the, I would say, Praetor that's the least annoying to see hit the board.
and the
Yeah,
least
that's
evil.
true.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you have haste and my creatures are tapped versus +2/+2, -2/2.
Yeah.
Discard your hand at the
Yeah.
end.
And
You
let's
miss
really
your
just
mana
take a-
untap.
Let's take a quick second to appreciate that Atraxa only exists because of Elish Norn, who is a much worse card in my opinion.
No, Elish Norn's awesome.
Elish Norn is the worst Praetor. The reason Atraxa exists, the reason that you have this to deal with. I hate Elish Norn. I hate the Praetors.
I'd rather deal with Elish Norn than Atraxa.
I would rather nobody ever played Elish Norn ever again.
There's
And
not
then
many
I would
instances
stop
where it
playing
hit-
Atraxa.
There's not many instances where it hits the board and everyone at the table's like, hey, this is a really cool card.
I'm sure happy you played that. It's everybody tries to make their own copies of Elish Norn, then I'm sitting over here trying to play a wolf deck.
It's always someone has 12 mana and they're like, living plane?
Anyways.
Does it resolve?
All right, make your case.
Okay,
Tell me
first,
how you feel about Atraxa.
well, besides the fact that it's flying, lifelink, death touch, vigilance, and it's a 4/4, and nobody
4/4.
wants to step in front of it, because it's like, okay, I'll hit you for 4. Yeah, that's fine. No, I gain 4 life. That's not cool.
You're not going to block her.
No, you're not. Even if you have something, like, unless you have something that's indestructible or you just don't want to.
Yeah, or cannon fodder.
Yeah. But even then, they're still getting the benefit from the lifelink.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 4 life is a lot.
Before she has counters on her.
Yeah, before she has counters. And that's just her right now. That's not even looking at all the different decks you can run into with Atraxa.
But what else does she do aside from flying, death touch, vigilance, and, of course, lifelink?
Make me hate the opponent.
She has 2 other abilities. Make Sherman hate opponents and proliferate at your end step. Because why not?
Yeah, why not? And that's part of the problem. Cause like, let's look on decks that will abuse this. Okay, anything with counters.
Yeah.
So, first off, easily, Super Friends.
Yeah, of course. Planeswalkers.
Classic.
35-minute turns.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
roll them up. I'll proliferate. I'll roll them up.
Yeah. And like,
Now I'll alt everyone.
and that's the thing. It's like Atraxa alone is already hard to deal with. And then you throw in Super Friends, and like the fact that she has Vigilance and Death Touch. Alright, cool. So now we have to get rid of Atraxa because she's a great blocker
Yeah.
to get to the Planeswalkers. Like, does anyone have an Elder spell?
I was going to say easy answer, Elder Spell.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
Run
like,
Nicobolus.
but if I'm playing
My
like,
man.
if I'm playing mono red, I don't have an Elder
You
spell.
don't have an answer.
No, I don't. Chaos Warp, maybe.
Also, how many people really run an Elder spell? It's so situational.
Oh, like it was great in draft, but yeah, it's very
Yeah.
situational.
Yeah, it's just not something that necessarily makes sense in one of my
Bring back sideboard.
valuable.
Yeah.
Bring back sideboard 2019.
Elder Spell hits the table. Everyone starts re-sleeving an Elder Spell in there. Oh yeah, no, our arm's ready.
it's just, but that's the thing. It's like, like the Super Friends is already annoying, and then like, if you have other things that do the counters, like Infect,
Yeah.
like who loves Infect?
You know what? I'll give you that one. Infect is one of the least fun mechanics, and I still stand by the fact that I think that in Commander, Infect should be doubled, but that's a whole different argument.
I think 10 is still fine because the moment someone sees that someone has Infect, everyone freaks out and they all target that one person. So it kind of outweighs the benefits as well.
Sometimes people play Skrithix as a commander. Jacob.
Skittles. But that's the thing, though. It's like, you have things like Infect, Wither, any like -1/-1 counters, or even +1/+1 counters if you want.
Well, that's how I play Atraxos +1s. I play Atraxa very aggressively.
And make everything huge. But the problem with every Atraxa deck, no matter what one you do, is you need to bring a toolbox of dice with you to play it.
Yeah. It's like playing Hydras.
Yeah.
The deck has already got some pretty expensive cards. Atrax is a pretty expensive commander. But then you need $710 of dice.
Yep. It's like,
worth
are we
it.
playing D&D or are we playing Magic here?
It's worth it, man. I'm going on a quest.
New game, bucket of die.
Quest to 100. The fact that Proliferate also doesn't target is really, really strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's choose any number of permanents with counters on them, and then give them an extra one. So anything that has -1/-1 counters from blocking an Infect, player with Hexproof who has Infect, anything like that, you can just Proliferate just because you'll feel like it.
See, Atraxa, I think, is even stronger now after Word of Spark.
Yeah.
Because you have more cards that proliferate. Like,
Oh, yeah.
heck, you have
Proliferate-
Karn's
oh.
Bastion for a land that
Yep.
proliferates.
As soon as I saw the spoilers for Karn's Bastion before War of the Spark release, immediately I told Daniel that I needed that for my Atraxa.
Well, you
deck.
have the green landfall Proliferate one
Yeah.
that they printed.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah, Evolution Sage.
Yeah.
And there's an ETB one as well when it enters the battlefield.
Oh yeah, there's
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 so
just
many.
a ton, but it really does lead to a lot of long turns. Like unless you really know what you're gonna do, there is really no way to play a Super
Even-
Friends deck without taking a ton of turns.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say even when you do really know what you're gonna do, it still takes a long time. And
There's
another
so many
part-
triggers to hit and miss. There's so many enchantments of the beginning of combat. Put this on this. Do this. Do this.
Well, it's like we were talking about last week that Sherman was saying with one of his decks, he needs to really look at
Organizes triggers.
Yeah,
left to right,
organizing
yeah.
triggers left to right, because that's exactly how I have to play it. Because there are even little things like I've forgotten to roll up Planeswalkers before because I don't play a Planeswalker heavy Atraxa deck. So when I'm done rolling up all my other counters, it's like, okay, I'm done with my counters. And you don't really.
Well, and you're
like,
doing
it's
so
easy
much
to
when
miss.
you're proliferating that, yeah, exactly. It's easy to miss. I didn't use this Planeswalker. Didn't tap my Contagion engine.
Yeah, so it's a very difficult deck. Not difficult, but it's
It's easy to forget things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can fall behind on triggers that would have made a difference to you.
yeah, and not only are you a scary opponent for your group, but also you're an annoying opponent because you're taking forever to play. There's just one more reason for people to target you.
Well, and when you're putting things, when you're making Atraxa so big and stuff, the fact that Atraxa's swinging 21 damage kills you with Atraxa. So it's really, really easy to get that through. It's got built-in evasion. It's got lifelink, death touch. It's a good blocker, it's a good attacker, and it's not tapped from attacking.
See, like, if they just removed the word vigilance,
It
it,
would
wouldn't
be
be so bad.
it would be a totally different card.
Yeah. It'd still be a strong commander.
Yeah.
You'd still have all these decks. But the fact that it has vigilance and it just attacks the weakest person just to get the extra 4 life again and again and again makes it so difficult to go against.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's
Well, it
just
can
a little
attack
meat
and then it
shield.
can block. It's hard to get back at her, you know?
Yeah. It's really, really hard.
Because
if
it's a blocker that at a worst is still gonna net at life.
Well, and it's the same thing. Like, if we were to keep the flying vigilance but get rid of either lifelink or death touch, that would make it, again, a very different card. But because it has both, it's so, like, obviously I'm going to block your stuff.
If it had nothing but its proliferate ability, it
It would
would
be a
still
good
be
card.
run by
It'd still be
everyone.
good.
4/4 proliferate on the end step for 4?
You would still do it.
It would
Yeah.
still be a great commander.
Yeah.
But they made her too strong.
Well, a lot of the made for commanders are very strong because they know they are trying to push that product and that play style, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy to make an overpowered commander and
Yeah.
sell out of decks real quick.
Yeah.
I think they're still waiting for new sets of these commanders just printed.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Everything except for last year's commanders didn't do very well. But everything else has been gone from Kalia and onwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like last year's
Hell yeah.
commanders, I still like them, like the Planeswalker commanders. I still like them. And yeah, they didn't sell as well as everyone hoped.
Yeah.
But they're still really good. They're still really fun. Like Aramatu's still
Mhm.
really strong. I still see that kicking around. I still see a Windgrace.
I think that they were really good base decks also.
Yeah.
Because necessarily keeping the Planeswalker as a commander, I don't think was maybe the best route to go down, but to adjust them a little bit,
But
like
a lot
what
of
you
them-
did with the red-blue deck.
Yeah, I made mine Brutaclad. It's a really, really fun deck to play.
Mhm.
And then I also turned the Estra deck into Tuvasa the Sunlit.
Oh,
And that
nice.
is one of my favorite and fastest playing decks. That can really, really
Yeah,
hit
it's
people
very
like a
strong
truck.
deck.
Yeah. Like overall, like I think people just didn't buy the commander set just because the value wasn't there, like monetarily.
Well, yeah, people
So-
wanted cheaper decks. They didn't increase the price of it. And then, because that's kind of the trade-off, right? People want a cheaper product, but they increasingly want better cards for it. And if you do look at those decks, they were the weakest of the commander decks. With their overall value, it was low, and with their overall strength. Now, that doesn't mean you
Far.
couldn't have turned them into strong decks. I feel like I did for most of the ones I
Mhm.
played. But that being said, those were not out of the box as powerful as this year or the year before.
No.
Yeah, agreed.
Which I think it was also kind of detrimental to new players specifically.
Yeah, someone trying to pick it up and get into it isn't going to win with a base level deck. But Aminatu is a really,
Yeah.
really cool commander.
But it's
Has a lot of really, really neat effects that you don't see on many things. The permanent shuffle is pretty cool.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The little roulette, Chinese fire drill.
Yes. Okay, so that was my second one, and Daniel, yours as well. So that leaves Hope for her number 2.
Nekusar.
Nekusar. Now, why do you hate Nekusar?
I just don't like when I hear the words at the table. Well, everyone's taking the damage. That is one of my least favorite.
The group hate decks?
The group hate decks. In
I
my,
don't know. Nekusar's awesome. Like,
do you play Nekusar, Sherman?
I have friends.
Are you
for
one
a
of those
reason.
people?
I have a commander where it deals damage to everyone. It's the black red one. What's his name? Corvat or no, not Corvat.
Karavek?
Karavek. Thank you.
What's Karavek? I'm
The
not familiar.
Merciless.
Merciless. Yeah. So basically, when he's out, anytime an opponent casts a spell, he deals damage to that opponent for the CMC. Right. But yeah, it's crazy. It's strong.
Sorry, I know nobody can see me right now, but I just looked at Sherman like, what is wrong with you?
He's like Val Smasher on cocaine.
No, because the deck, I made this deck because I was getting annoyed at people that weren't paying attention in the game. So I called this audience participation, where it took a bunch of cards from Planar Chaos, where it's like, I cast this, and if you guys want to counter it, a target player has to lose 5 life,
Yeah.
so it gets countered.
Mhm.
So I have like 20 of those cards in the deck, you know.
Everyone has to pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the moment, my commander comes out, then they're like, we just paid a bunch of life for everything to counter anything. So now every time we cast something, we're going to take damage. And I'm like, hey. But I don't live. I'm
No.
always the first one out. But that's besides the point.
That's kind of
Nekusar-
what I do for Nekusar players. If I see a Nekusar player, so there is one nice thing. So you think, oh, Nekusar, at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. How nice. A Howling Mine on a commander. Love
Yeah,
this.
that's awesome.
Who
I
is
love
this
it.
person?
I love it.
This is why we invite them to play with us. And then you read the rest of the card. So
When-
whenever only an opponent draws a card, Nekusar, the creature, deals damage to that player.
That's not so bad.
It is.
That's not so bad.
It is. Because it's so easy in blue, black, and red to cause additional card draw. And all of a sudden, you're sitting at turn 5 and you're already down to 14 life.
But he's a zombie wizard, though. A zombie wizard. What? You can't do anything with zombies or wizards, right?
There's no tribal synergy there.
There's none. That's absolutely, especially like since you're playing blue as well. There's no card draw there.
No card draw, no mill, no nothing.
Whole
It's
lot of
fine.
windfalls coming.
What's a Tefari's puzzle box? That won't be fun to put in this deck.
But I get it.
It's just, I think it's fair to say that it's a very difficult.
Group hate in general is stuff that just affects everyone.
Yeah.
It's your Mogus, it's your Zozu, any of those things.
But it also, again, something we touched on last week was that it kind of forces you into being arch enemy.
Yeah.
I think, which is one of the drawbacks of playing a deck like that with that sort of commander. However, like I said, it's so easy to cause that additional card draw, and because Nekosar's 5 cost.
Yeah, 2 black,
yeah,
blue, and red.
yeah. He by that point you could have already gotten a couple like extra card draw things out on the board and other synergistic enchantments and artifacts.
It's easy for people to forget Nekusar helms the deck when they're dropping a Howling Mind, then comes a Font of Mythos.
Yeah, they look like a friend.
Yeah, they're having a good time. They're helping the table out.
Yeah,
And
everyone's
then
having fun
suddenly
here.
it's 7 damage a
Isn't
turn.
this group hug?
Kind of. I'm giving you cards. That's kind of group hug.
Is it?
Well, if I play like Orloro, where it just sits in the command zone, and I'm just gaining 2 life every time, I don't care.
I don't mind Aloro. I've seen a lot of people have like the hate for Aloro as well, but I really didn't mind that playing against Aloro decks.
It's just that life gain is annoying
It
because
can be.
when you don't check the life, it's like, hey, what's everyone's life totals? 13, 12, 25.
78.
Yeah. Oh. Crap.
But I don't have a big issue with people gaining a ton of life in Commander because Commander damage is
It's easy to get off.
and it
Yeah.
lends to my personal playstyle because I do play very like creature heavy, attack heavy decks.
Yeah.
So
You combine Nekuzar with the Raptor from Ixalan. Like every time you cast a creature, it deals 1 damage to that controller. That'd be fun.
yeah, it's so fun, super fun. Sounds great.
Like I can't cast creatures, and I'm drawing cards. I'm taking damage at the
Cool.
same time. So yeah, this
This is a
ironic.
game, right? We're supposed to have fun.
Well, it is technically fun for the person that made it.
It's fun for all of these commanders that we've been talking about today are fun for the person that made the deck. That doesn't necessarily mean I like them. They're scary to play against. They go hard. They're aggressive. I'm not a fan of Nekosar and never will be.
But that's like, with Brian and Ashley in our play group at the Den. They both play Mogus for a
They
commander.
sure do. Brian started playing Nekusar too. Brian, this isn't an attack at you, I promise.
But like Mogus is basically the same thing. It's like kind of. Like you have an option of taking the damage or sacrificing a creature during your upkeep. And it's 2 damage.
Is that really an option? No, I don't know. Unless you're playing like a huge token deck, it's not really an option. It's take the damage or ruin your play, ruin your game.
But like it is an option. Like I don't.
It's not a good option.
It's not a good option. Yeah.
Nobody said you're gonna like it, Hope.
It's the option of I steal your purse or I spend your money.
But like I can see people going crazy with it, throwing things down like, Mana Barbs, Ankh of Mishra, things like that. Just like damage all around. Like sure, they'll like probably be the first one out, but it speeds up the game. It's not an hour game. It's
Yeah.
more
It
like
does
a 20-minute
definitely
game.
speed a game up.
And sometimes that can be nice when you just need a little like a palate cleanser of a game.
Let's just have like a game where we just look for all the commanders that deal damage to everyone during an upkeep for whatever reason, and just play a game like that and see how
And
well
just
that
see
goes.
who
Kind of
lasts.
see what happens.
Survivor Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, Survivor Random. I vote myself off. I really want to go eat. I am so
I've done that
hungry.
before.
I want to see a real bathroom with a real toilet. I would like to have a proper shower.
Guys, I'm so tired.
I'm so tired. The bugs, they keep on eating me. No, the mosquitoes go after me only. I don't know why. But Nekisar, I can see why you would say that, especially considering like we build in card draw into every deck.
Everything, all of us. That's kind of one of our moves. That's one of the things that, because we have such different play styles, all three of us have in common. So we love draw.
That's very
And this
true.
just halts us in our tracks.
I'm just saying, Nekusar's fine if you unban Leovold.
That's never gonna happen, though.
I want it so bad.
You're so optimistic.
Actually, you never know. They might do that.
They
When was the
might.
last time? Like last time they unbanned what Painter Servant?
I never
That was
thought
pretty
I'd see an unbanned Painter Servant.
Yeah. So you never know. They unbanned Protean Hulk. That was pretty good. So yeah, who knows? Maybe it will come back.
New goal, just build Leovold and tell everyone you're playing it anyways.
Just find everyone that is on the commanders committee and just like email them, spam email
Yeah,
them
that's good.
every day.
At me, guys.
Pretend you don't know the ban list, and then you've spent the money on the deck. You're not taking
I'm
it apart.
new.
I'm new. I have all these boxes and stuff. I don't know how. Like I got them.
Bought them at a garage sale.
You never know. That could totally
That could happen.
That could totally happen.
Anyways, who's your
Oh.
next? What?
Group hug Leovold is how it'll come back.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, sure. You say that now, and then when it comes out.
Leovold the Fun Police.
All right. So my number one for my list is Yawgmoth, Thran Physician.
Oh,
He's a doctor. I don't like doctors.
he's a scary boy.
The
But-
Yogg Father.
Yeah. A doctor that has protection from humans. Like,
Why would he need protection from humans if he was a nice boy? All I'm saying.
So Yawgmoth, is from Modern Horizons, so it's a newer card. It's 2 black for a human cleric, protection from human, and you can pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, and put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature and draw a card. As well, you can play black, discard a card, and proliferate. That's 2 commanders I have here that have proliferate on my list. Oh, and there's also
I see a
2/4
theme.
with 1 character. Yeah. Oh, like, I love proliferate, but at the same
Yeah,
time,
it sounds like it.
when I use it, I love it. But only me. I'm greedy. I'm a greedy jerk. But it's scary for me because, like we always mention, black is the only color that uses life as a resource, like constantly. So you're paying 1 life to sacrifice a creature to put a -1/-1 counter on something and to draw a card. So you get rid of things that have indestructible, which is really, really helpful.
That's really valuable.
Okay, and you're drawing a card. All right.
That
But-
would be good.
It's fantastic, but the thing is that when you see a sack outlet on a commander, you know for a fact you're going to encounter either a bunch of things like that will wipe the board when you sacrifice the creature. So, was it Dictate of Erebos and Butch of Malakir? Okay, or you're going to see a bunch of things that drain. So, Blood Artist, Zulaport, Cutthroat, Falcon Wrath Noble, all that stuff. Things that I use, but are really, really, really annoying.
I mean, fair. I get that.
But like that's the thing. Like, if you had just everyone constantly wipes the board, okay, fine. But you add in the drain effect, and it's like, pay 1 life. Who cares about 1 life?
Yeah, 1 life is nothing.
Yeah, you have Blood Artist, okay? I pay 1 life, sacrifice this creature to put a -1/-1, draw a card. Oh, Blood Artist trigger. I gain that 1 life and you lose a life.
Yeah.
So you're literally just sacrificing a creature
free.
to draw a card and doing a 1/1 counter on something. Like you said, you're doing it for free.
And then you discard the card that you drew, you proliferate, and then you're able to actually easily take advantage of those -1s and actually get rid of stuff.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, I don't need this land. I'll toss it out. Oh, wait, there's a card with madness. All right, I'll toss that card that has madness. Now I cast that card for madness. Like,
and it's black. Run some infect. Make
Yeah.
some friends.
yeah, throw in the Tainted Strike. Like, it's just, when someone has this, I can expect those 2 effects, but everything else that can happen, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's also that unknown factor. So, like, are you playing with Planeswalkers? Maybe, maybe not. You know, like, are you playing, like, things like Liliana, Dreadhorde General, where a creature dies and you draw a card as well? Like,
Double
so
up
you're
your
getting
draw
2,
triggers,
yeah,
yeah.
double card draw?
Love her.
I love her in the lore, but oh boy, like you don't know what's going to happen. You can have that. You can have counters on a bunch of stuff. Because let's face it, there's like a lot of black cards, creatures, where it's like you sacrifice something and that creature gets +1/+1 counter.
Yeah.
Okay, or other like
Or other creatures get -1, or like -1 counters on them.
yeah. It's just like, whoa, what's the point? Like, there's so many things you can do with this commander.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really silly. Like, yeah, you can have infect, you have -1 counters. You can have all these different things, but it's just whatever you're facing. The scary part is whatever you're facing, you can find a way to get around it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so person plays indestructible. Fine, -1
Doesn't matter.
counters. Person keeps on eating away at your hand. Fine. Sacrifice creatures to draw a card. People are playing tokens. Fine. You board wipe because they're in black.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, you know, Toxic Deluge, Damnation, you name
Massacre Girl, Massacre Worm.
it. Yeah. Massacre Girl is fantastic for this because, like, when it comes out on that turn, even after ETBs, you know, if you sacrifice more creatures, it still triggers again. So it's just like, well, like, what can you not do with this deck? What can you not do with this commander? It gets crazy.
I haven't seen anyone play it yet.
I've seen a few people play it, and they put a lot of money into it, and because of that, it's really, really hard to go against. So, and they tend to put in like 3 or 4 planeswalkers, with, you know, especially most of the time it's Liliana.
Mm-hmm.
Let's face it. You know, but they play off the fact that they do aristocrats deck where they are draining you and everything. So everything that they do for sacrificing creature and all that stuff, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
it's just for free. They don't care. They get the card draw, they'll discard, they'll proliferate, and just go crazy from that.
Yep.
So, and it's really, really hard to keep a board state. It's like when I see that, I'm like, am I playing my enchantment deck? You know, because if I am, I have a good chance of doing well.
Yeah.
But if I'm playing a creature-heavy deck, I am screwed.
Yeah. You're kind of hooped.
Yeah. So, but that is my number 1.
Well, and if we really want to talk Yawgmoth, like aside from the card itself, like
The
his
lore.
lore, oh my god, he's the
awesome.
evilest. He's
He is
the
a pretty
evilest.
bad boy.
We love him. For anybody that doesn't know, Yawgmoth's like OG big bad. He is everything to me.
Him compared to Nikki B.
Yeah. Oh, he's way more eviler than Nikki B, and I am a Nicol Bolas aficionado of sorts. I am maybe Nicol Bolas' only fan. Number 1 fan. Love him. Love. Like, cannot express how much I love Nicol Bolas. He is not on my list in any realm. But, yeah, Yawgmoth with the whole Phyrexia.
Yeah.
It goes back again. All the things that you hate about Atraxa really just go back to Yawgmoth.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So, there's a reason why I have those at the top 2. So, but that is my number 1.
Hope, who's your number 1?
Omnoth. Green Omnoth. The worst Omnoth.
Look at the mana.
Hate him.
But why do you hate him?
I think, again, it goes back to those things where if I see somebody playing Omnoth, chances are I'm not going to be able to get ahead of them.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where they can get so big, so scary, so aggressive. Because we're not talking about necessarily just hate. We're talking about scary. And to me, if I see a green Omnoth hit the field when I'm going to cut somebody's deck, I know that I'm in for it that game. You know, the next 30 minutes to an hour are gonna be a little bit trying.
Yeah, 'cause it's just dealing with someone that basically almost has infinite mana.
It's infinite mana, and it's infinite green mana, so there's so much they can just regen.
It's
Yeah.
not
Sure.
infinite. He just has a big freezer for it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's got a deep freeze in his basement, and his mom gave it to him, and he's got a cold room, and he's got a wine cellar full of mana. But he gets to a point with Omnath, because it's such low casting cost originally.
Well, yeah,
that you
3 to
could-
get him out.
Yeah, easy.
But he's a 1/1.
Yeah, technically, I suppose you're completely right. Being able to store the mana on him, giving him all the extra, giving him those enormous buffs just by playing. And in green, it's not exactly hard to ramp your mana. Or to double your mana. And to just go hard. So it's easy to give him Hexproof. It's easy to regen him. It's easy to give him Trample. It's so easy to kill all of your opponents with bing bang boom commander damage. Okay, I win. Let's move on to the next game, guys.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure when you buy one, they give you a Rogue's Passage.
Yeah, that's actually
Yeah.
law.
The lot has to be in the deck.
Yeah, but the Whisper
Trick
Cloak,
the errata.
you have to go and find it yourself.
Yeah. If you want to be a degenerate with it. Well, it's going to run everything to double mana and
Yeah.
stuff, and it can look like a group hug. You get that Heartbeat of Spring down.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, I got my double mana, but
Yeah.
then all of a sudden...
Out comes Vorinclex.
Out comes Vorinclex. Out comes the Seedborn Muse.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Wilderness Reclamation, if that's the one that untaps at the end step. It's just all of that. A Zendikar Resurgence. Suddenly my forests are tapping for 7 each.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh.
still
And
there
it's
the
nasty.
whole time.
And then
Yeah.
Crater Hoof.
Craterhoof Behemoth. And
Well,
like
you're
that.
in green. You can give it trample so easily.
So easy.
You can sure strike Trident people in the face with it.
Oh yeah. Like I can totally see that. I can totally understand. Like when Omnath comes out, yeah, I'm fearful. And like the thing that makes it difficult when I face this is just the fact that they can use their mana at any time when they store it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
So,
still
If
there.
it was at sorcery speed or
Yeah,
something like
that'd be
that,
different.
that would be a totally different thing. It would still be scary, but being able to have this unemptying pool of mana that you can do whatever you want with.
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
and they're not wasting their manas.
No.
If you have 3 untapped at the end of the step because you didn't play anything, you have your creature 3 bigger before the next turn.
Yeah.
3 more mana to use for the next big spell you want.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like with Omnath, you never have to worry about being tapped out because
No.
you'll always have the mana. So it's like if you play that, and compared to me, I'm like, okay, I only have 5 lands. I only have 5 mana.
Mhm.
Okay, and it goes away, and so I have to.
You have to be more strategic. You
Yeah.
have to be more wary about how you're using your mana. With an Omnath player, they just do whatever they want whenever they want because mana doesn't matter and everything is free.
Well, and if you have 5 mana, 5 green on the board,
Yeah.
and you drop a Seedborn Muse, by the time it gets back around, you have 15 in your pool. He's a 16/16 at a minimum,
Mhm.
and that's if you didn't want to cast anything.
Yeah.
You have all the mana you'd ever need for any of your artifact removal, enchantment removal,
Mhm.
anything like that, any fogs, whatever you want, and you still have a 16/16 on deck. And if it makes it around again, you do the same thing. But you're also in green, where you can regenerate things so easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can...
Hexproof, indestructible,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Unblockable.
Yeah. No, I think the worst when I start to get worried is when someone's playing Omnath and then they drop down a Vidalcan Ori. Because it's like, okay, so you have how much mana in your pool right now? 40? And you just drop down a Vidalcan Ori. Huh. Okay, so now you can cast every single answer you have, regardless, and I'm screwed.
I took it out because it was not
'Cause it
very
wasn't
fun.
fun.
And Vidalcan
Yeah.
does just really break the deck. But I always stall the game out because I'm trying to win with Helix Pinnacle. 700 mana on deck, and what will I do with it, you say?
Oh, but yeah, I can totally vouch that Omnath is really scary when you play against it, especially like when they're dropping those big creatures because they have so much mana, or like they have a lot of mana sinks, and then they can use them to protect at any point in time. They don't have to worry about anything.
Mhm.
It does get really scary.
Well, and the other thing about Onnoth, again, and I know I keep going back to it, but lore-wise, he's also kind of scary. He's this angry incarnation of green mana out to just
chilling in Zendikar.
Yeah.
Like, keep in mind, it's Zendikar, too.
Yeah.
Like what's not
Zendikar
scary in
is a
Zendikar?
nasty plane.
Like, if I had to choose where, to be
Where
able
not to
go-
planeswalk?
yeah. Zendikar is, probably, one of the top 5. Top 3, heck. Who cares? Top 3. So, but yeah, that is scary. And then, with all the mana doubling and everything, and all the secret ways that people can kill you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's like you said, a sure strike. No one really expects a sure strike. So, but they do now.
You're welcome, guys.
Sure Strike Trident is a really good card.
Sure strike. That was one of my win conditions in one of my janky decks. Actually, I think that's my only win condition right now until I fully build it. I have a deck that's built around Island Home.
Yeah.
So, but the rules are I can't touch your lands.
You can't make them islands?
I cannot make them islands. I cannot exchange my lands with your lands. So no
No
political
shenanigans.
trickery or anything. No. The deck is called Please Play Islands.
Please.
Please play islands. You're not playing islands. I'm not a threat to you. Please don't attack me. So, and they have all the big 5/5 sea serpents and all that stuff, and they're big and scary. But I can't attack you. I cannot. So, Sure Strike is one of the ways I can, do something. I need a little bit. I need more win conditions than that before I put it together. So, but hope that's a good one.
Thanks.
Daniel, you're the last one.
My last one is a combination of two because they basically do the same thing in different ways. And it's Muldrotha and Marin. They're two of mine and Hope's favorite decks, and they're extremely frustrating to play against for people because they play from the grave. Removal is much less effective when people just cast a card from the grave or bring it back with experience counters. When you can just recast things constantly from the grave, it really makes it hard. You finally destroy that problematic enchantment, and it's back.
This is coming from a Muldrotha player as well.
Oh, no, I know.
And a Marin player.
Yeah, Marin's probably Hope's most competitive deck, and it's...
Okay, so now I'm gonna play Carador so that we can all recurse stuff from our graveyards.
From the graveyard it is. But it's just, even with Marin, it can get out of hand so quickly. If you get an early Sakura Tribe Elder, you're ramping, it's coming back.
Fun fact,
You're
Sakura Tribe
sacking it.
Elder might be my favorite card in all of Magic because of that.
We, one of the things I looked for a really, really long time was the foil promo of that Sakura Tribe Elder.
With the
It's-
Cobra.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
the
yeah.
alternate art. It was so good,
Yeah.
so hard to find, and then they just reprinted the artwork in the new Commander deck. Broke my heart. It's not foil though, so there's at least that.
Yeah.
But no, it really does just get out of hand. It's giving you experience counters for Marin. It's coming back with Marin. It's going back to the graveyard and getting it back up. And Marin with experience counters is really scary. Those don't go away.
No, it's just like the
They're
emblems.
not
They
on,
don't go away.
They're not on the creature, they're on the player. You cannot target those.
There is one way to make them go away, and that is to kill your opponent.
What you do, pack your cards up, leave, don't talk to that person
Just start a
anymore.
new game with someone else.
Yeah,
Find a new hobby.
get a new table,
Yeah.
just leave them alone.
Get a nice
But no,
eBay store.
Muldrotha is another one and stuff. She doesn't suffer from discard. She can run a lot of cards that are a Lionized Diamond, for instance, is super good. You can play everything from the graveyard, including the Lionized Diamond.
Yeah, Lotus
So you-
Petal.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
with that Lionized Diamond, you throw your hand out, you have 3 mana, you cast it again, and you sack it again for 3 more mana, and you have your whole graveyard to choose of what you want. You're just throwing away things that you can play again and again and again.
Mhm.
A well-built Muldrotha deck is not going to run many instants and sorceries. It's going to run enchantments. It's going to run things that annoy everyone like Spore Frog, and some people
Yeah.
love Spore Frog. I love Spore Frog.
Yeah.
But-
Some people run a spore frog. I wouldn't want to name names.
But yeah, it's very, very easy to control it because you don't ever really lose your combo pieces.
No.
And even if you're going to and stuff, there's not many things. Some graveyard hate is what's going to stop it.
Yeah.
But that deck is packing Reclamation Sages. It's packing Manglehorns.
Yeah.
They're going to blow up anything problematic. They're going to run their own Ley Lines and Flash and Avadalkin and everything that frustrates everyone.
The thing that really hurts that deck is Exile.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
can exile the graveyard, a Bojuka Bog, real hard to deal with there.
Yep. Like, I love Modrotha. Marion I like a lot, but I love Modrotha just because you could do so much with it.
Well,
Yeah.
one of each permanent type is real strong.
It's
Yeah.
intense. Yeah.
But
I think the reason that I kind of gravitate towards Marin more is I'm just like, I'm a Golgari, like, diehard. So
That's the guild for life.
that's my number one.
is it for me?
That's my alignment.
Is it correct? No.
Are we kicking you off the podcast? Yes.
We should talk about the guilds and the best guilds and
Oh, yeah.
their strengths and weaknesses sometimes.
No, is it the best? I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I don't know why you would say that
Niv
when.
visit all day.
No.
I'm a big fan of Boros.
Y'all are wild. We all know it's Golgari. Can we all at least agree on the weakest?
Go
Demir?
ahead.
Azorius. Hate.
What?
Get
Azorius is
out of my
strong.
house.
Azorius is strong.
Ew.
It's
Life gained and life lost. You know, you go back and forth.
Blue and
it's
white
strong
is the biggest
until
waste
the
of my
whole
time.
table attacks you because you're playing Azorius.
But you have so many board wipes, it doesn't matter. They can't attack you when no one's alive.
Biggest
I play
waste of
Grand
my time.
Arbiter. Oh, we're all gonna kill you. Cool.
Get,
Cool,
yeah, no.
cool,
hate
cool.
it. Hate it.
But like Golgari, like it does fit really well with Modrotha and Marion.
Totally.
It definitely does. And I think the craziest with them is like besides the creatures, like especially with Modrotha, like you said, every single permanent, and especially with the planeswalkers from War of the Spark, you know, since they only go down,
Yep.
it's like okay, I'll just keep on using them. Oh wait, I can bring them back. Like
Well, yeah, they don't lack the
They
don't lack
have-
the utility anymore
Yeah.
because you can just keep playing them. And they do make planeswalkers much scarier after you alt them. You alt
Yeah.
them, I will play it again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
like Ashiok alone already is annoying. It's
There's
like,
a lot.
hey.
There's a lot of cards that you can pack in that can make the deck inherently unfun. I put the new Narset Planeswalker in, played it one game, realized, that's not very fun.
Same with
Took
Ninja Taxes.
it out. Yeah, the same. That was one that I used to reanimate with Entomb
Ugh.
pretty
Oh.
quick, and yeah, and it's because it's so good. I'm drawing 7, I'm throwing them out, but I still have a good spot for them.
Yeah.
But again, at the end of the day, it's not that fun.
No.
I'm trying to make a budget Modrotha right now,
Ooh.
just for fun, and it involves using like
I like fun.
a lot of the creatures from like War of Spark where it has the mass and everything, but it uses a lot of things that have cycle, so
Yep.
you just cycle it through and it goes to graveyard. Now just cast it later on when it has the mana.
Ooh. That's actually a great idea. I never even
Yeah.
considered taking advantage of Cycle, which is like a mechanic that nobody uses.
Yeah, so it's like it uses that. It uses cycle. Cycle. It uses like those smaller creatures and everything, and it uses Explorer as well.
Cool.
Because then it's like I don't want it. It just goes to graveyard, right?
Yeah.
You know, get the +1/+1 counter.
Oh, I
I'm
like
digging
that,
it.
yeah.
That's a very fun.
So you're grabbing
Different way to
lands to your
build.
hand, or you're just tossing them out there.
Yeah.
I like this.
So-
And so unexpected. Like if I saw Muldrotha and you started doing that, I'd be like, what is he doing?
Yeah. So no one,
Interesting.
yeah, no one like everyone's like
Spoilers.
but they're- Yeah, everyone's like, well, okay, I can kind of see what you're doing, but all your stuff is like low cost and everything. It's
Yeah.
like I don't care because eventually I'm just gonna like
Mass cast.
mass cast something or
Woohoo.
make them combine. So
Well-
I'm trying to find like combos that use one of each thing,
Yeah.
of each permanent,
Yeah.
and just go from there. So like whatever combo pieces I throw in, they're just gonna combine and make it like explode somehow.
Well, and
sounds tight.
that's honestly one of the things that makes Muldrotha such a interesting commander is because there is so many ways to play it,
Yeah.
and there's so many things to do, and there's a lot of cards that even with one cast
Yeah.
are really, really good. But you throw something in like Phyrexian Altar or anything like that you can sack your creatures, you're suddenly getting an Eternal Witness to get any instants and sorceries back.
Yeah.
You're able to
Well, and that's a lot of how my Marin deck finds so much success. And it's interesting to see how even with such a limit as only 2 colors, you can see so many different playstyles from a deck like Marin. Like even looking on like EDH Rec, like my deck is nowhere close to anything recommended.
Yeah,
It's just not. I'm like, apparently I'm not doing this right. But
Well, keep in mind,
it's
like-
just different. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it's a very different style. Like there's so much. being in black and green and wanting to sacrifice and have entered the battlefield effects and have like that again the bonuses for you for sacrificing and the detriment to your opponents, like the Great Packs, the Butchers, all that kind of stuff. Going back to that, so
Yeah, like that stuff. Like I totally understand, and I love the fact that like all of us have different ways of coming up with ideas for because like everyone like don't get me wrong, I love EDH Rec. It is a fantastic resource.
But it's
Especially
not
for
the
new
be all
players.
end all, you know?
Yeah, like it's
There
just-
is a lot of ways to build a deck.
yeah. Well, even the way that you build decks with having your theme first,
yeah.
that is not Magic related.
Yeah, it's
Have
just
your
fun.
theme and then thank you. That and I think that that's really what we're all coming down to. It's like we're making all these jokes about these scary commanders that we hate, but like it's just fun.
Yeah, it is. Like when you play against someone that has a serious deck from all of these commanders we just talked about, yes, it is
Scary boys.
Yeah, especially if we're playing fun decks. It's just
Yeah.
like I don't think we can go up against this. 'Cause
No.
it's like our sort of 5 or a 6.
But
and theirs is
it
like
would
an
be
8.
like it would be like your new Muldrotha versus Daniel's Muldrotha, or a very different.
Marin
they're going to be
versus
at a
Marin, yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
They're going to be at totally different levels. Out of the blocks, Marin Commander's deck versus my Marin deck, very different.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
So that's what we have for.
Yeah, that's our list. We still have the 10th available, and we kind of want to know what everyone else thinks. What is the commander you hate the most?
What is so scary?
Scary.
What is so spooky scary?
Spooky.
Let us know on the Instagram. Let us know on Facebook. We want to hear from you guys. What do you think is some of the scariest commanders? What are you doing for Halloween? What's going on?
Yeah, if you're gonna dress up, do some cosplay, send us a picture.
Magic cosplay. We want to see it.
Yeah. So, anyways, thanks for everything, guys. Thanks for listening. Catch you later.
Bye, y'all.